I never thought I would be the kind of person who would post my experiences on Reddit, pouring my heart out to strangers. But here I am, because I learned something so unreal, so twisted, that I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. My name is Adam. I'm 33 years old, I work in IT, and I lead a pretty normal life. I've been married to my wife Rachel for just over 2 years. We met at a barbecue at a mutual friend's house. She was smart, confident, and, to be honest, there was something mysterious about her that drew me in like gravity. Our relationship developed quickly. 6 months later, we got engaged. 4 months after that, we got married. I thought I was lucky. She made me feel like I was the only man on earth. But there was always something a little off. She never talked about her childhood. She said she had difficult parents and that she had left that life behind. Okay, no big deal. We all have our baggage. But then, there was a scar. One day, when we were lying in bed, I noticed a faint horizontal scar on her lower abdomen. She flinched when I touched it and dismissed it, saying it was from her appendix removal. But it didn't look like an appendicitis scar. And that's when I first felt that something was wrong. Question for you viewers. What would you do if the person you love started to seem like a stranger to you? Write your answers in the comments and we'll continue. A few weeks later, Rachel left for a weekend work seminar. Nothing unusual, she worked in the human resources department of a marketing company and was constantly traveling to conferences and seminars. I was doing laundry, just trying to be helpful, and then I noticed the back of our closet. Hidden behind some old coats was a shoebox, nothing special, but when I opened it, inside were documents, old ones, birth certificates, medical forms, and the name on one of the birth certificates, Ryan. Same last name, same birthday as Rachel. At first, I thought maybe it was a brother, a twin, but no. There were hospital forms, surgery, hormone therapy, photos, before and after. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Rachel used to be Ryan. I sat on the floor, stunned. That mystery I'd always felt, it wasn't a mystery. It was a secret. The life she lived before me. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the silence. Questions swirled around in my head. It wasn't even anger, just confusion. Was she going to tell me? Did she think I would never find out? Had I been blind all this time? The next day, I tried to act normal. I couldn't talk to her on the phone. I needed to see her face. When she came home on Sunday evening, she hugged me as if nothing had happened. She said she missed me, and I hugged her back, but my arms felt like they belonged to someone else. Dinner was silent. She asked if everything was okay. I just replied, "I'm tired." But when she went to take a shower, I stood at the bathroom door. I listened to the sound of the water. I watched the steam. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't know the person on the other side of the door. She came out wrapped in a towel, smiled, and kissed me on the cheek. I smiled back and died inside. I couldn't take it anymore. The silence was too loud, the questions too heavy. So the next night, I asked her straight up, "Rachel, who is Ryan?" She froze. Her fork stopped halfway to her mouth. The color drained from her face like someone flipped a switch. What are you talking about?" she whispered. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out the shoebox, and placed it on the table between us. No words, just that box. Her hands trembled as she opened it. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. She just exhaled, like she'd been holding her breath for years. Then she looked at me, eyes glassy but calm. "I was going to tell you. I just never knew how. And the longer I waited, the harder it got." "You lied to me," I said. "No," she snapped. "I hid from you because I was scared, because you meant something, because for the first time, someone loved me for me, not for what I used to be." She stood up, walked to the window, and whispered, "I was Ryan, but I died to become Rachel. I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part just stared at her as if I were seeing her for the first time. My wife, the woman with whom I had shared everything, was still standing in front of me. The same laugh, the same eyes, the same person. But now there was an echo behind every memory. Every kiss, every joke, every argument. Had I been married to a stranger, or was I now a stranger, unable to accept the truth? She sat down again, calmer now. Adam, I wasn't trying to deceive you. I was just afraid you would leave. And for a second, I wondered, if I had known this from the beginning, would I have left? I tried to find something to say, but all that came out was, do your friends know? Your colleagues? Your family? She nodded. Most of them, except your parents. I didn't think they would understand. There it was again, that wall of secrecy. But I didn't even know if I was angry because she was transgender, or because I was never given the opportunity to decide how I felt about it. Micro question for you. Is love love if it's built on something unspoken? After that night, I started hearing voices, not out loud inside. Whispers of society, of my upbringing, of every joke, every locker room comment, every subtle message drilled into my head since I was a kid. That's not a real woman. You've been tricked. Dude, you're basically gay now. I hated those thoughts because they weren't mine. They were inherited, passed down like a curse. I looked at Rachel sleeping beside me, curled up like always, and realized I was seeing her through a distorted lens. A lens other people had given me. But what did I actually feel? When I blocked out the noise, when I sat with my own heart, the answer was frustratingly unclear. I loved her. That was a fact. But love doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in culture, in family, in pressure. And now I was standing in the middle of all of it, not sure which way was right. A week passed. We didn't talk much, just existed, like roommates wearing wedding rings. Then, one night, Rachel broke the silence. I can't live like this, Adam. You either accept me, all of me, or let me go. She wasn't angry. She looked tired, like someone who had fought too many battles already. And maybe this one was the final straw. I stood there staring at her. I remembered our wedding vows. I will love you in truth and in secret, in light and in shadow. Funny how poetic lies sound at the time. But was this a betrayal or a test of my own capacity to love? She said it again, softer. Please don't make me beg for my own existence. And in that moment, it wasn't about gender. It was about dignity. About someone asking not to be erased. I didn't answer Rachel that night. Instead, I drove, nowhere specific. Ended up outside my parents' house. I didn't plan to go in, but somehow I was knocking on the door. My dad answered. We sat on the porch like we used to. I told him everything. The box, the name, the surgery, the ultimatum. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said something I'll never forget. Son, you married the soul, not the story. I laughed. Would you still say that if it was Mom? He just looked out at the trees and said, I've known men who beat their wives and women who lie for sport. If she's kind, honest, and loves you, who cares what her start was? What matters is where she's taking you. It didn't fix everything, but it cracked something open inside me. Maybe love isn't about knowing everything. Maybe it's about accepting what is, not what was. Still, I had to decide if I could live with it. The next night, I sat Rachel down. No tension, no accusations, just truth. I looked her in the eyes and asked, why didn't you tell me before we got married? She swallowed hard. Then she told me the story she had never shared, not even with some of her friends. When she was Ryan, life had been a daily war. Every mirror was a battlefield. Every photo felt like someone else's life. She tried to fit in, even dated women, even tried religion, anything to fix herself. But nothing worked. Until she finally decided she'd rather die as herself than live as someone else. And once she became Rachel, she promised herself that the past was just a ghost. She buried it. Then she met me. And suddenly, she said, I didn't want you to fall in love with a ghost. I wanted you to love me, the person I fought like hell to become. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but not dramatic ones, the kind you only cry when you're truly deeply tired. And I realized she didn't lie out of malice. She lied out of fear. The kind of fear that comes from being broken and finally putting the pieces back together. I didn't sleep that night, again. But this time, I wasn't tormented by feelings of betrayal. I was tormented by the burden of choice. People talk about reasons for breaking up as if it were black and white. But no one ever talks about the gray. The dirty, human, trembling gray. I watched her sleep. The same soft breathing, the same clenched fingers near her face. The woman I married, the woman I still knew and didn't know. And at that moment, I asked myself, is my love conditional? Was I only capable of loving what I could predict? Or could I love something real, even if it shocked me? The answer didn't come instantly. It came slowly, with the sunrise. I made breakfast, French toast her favorite. When she came in, her eyes swollen from the night before, I said, I can't promise it won't take a long time. She nodded, preparing to say goodbye. But then I added, but I'm still here, and I'm trying. She broke down. She fell to the floor in tears. And, for the first time, I didn't see Rachel or Ryan. I only saw us. Not a husband and wife. Not a man and a woman. Just two people trying to love despite the noise. Visual cue, montage of old memories and future moments, flashes of the wedding, them dancing barefoot, her holding his hand, both laughing. Fade to black. Like and subscribe. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it will be useful to someone. And write to me in the comments. Would you let a secret redefine your love, or would you redefine love itself?